Swadikap and good afternoon once again. Today is Friday, the 7th of January 2022, and this is the English language summary of the press briefing here at the Center for COVID Situation Administration as always. So first, thank you to Dr. Tuwisin for the Thai language version of the briefing. I'll recap some of the important points that he summarized just now, including a very important issue about the lifting of restrictions for travelers traveling from countries in Africa, which will be lifted next week, as well as additional sandbox provinces. But I'll start off first with the word level 4. Now, the Ministry of Public Health had designated the alert level. There are actually 5 levels. You may have found information details in the press in the past few days. There are 5 levels, and they have elevated Thailand into level 4 of alert already. Now, there are details in this alert level, level 4, and they are based on the recommendations of the Ministry of Public Health. One important part of that recommendation is about travel, wherein travel to between provinces in Thailand, as well as travel abroad, is not recommended. So that is part of the recommendation of the level 4 alert of the Ministry of Public Health. So just touching a little bit on that, you may have found information in the news in the past days before this briefing already. I'll start off first with the issue about the categorization of the control zones, which is adjusted, and then continue on with the review on the measures for entering the country that I mentioned from travelers from Africa, as well as other important issues. So firstly, on the updated categorization, the general meeting of the CCSA this morning, which was chaired by the Prime Minister, adjusted the zoning categories for disease control measures, which will be effective from the 9th of January onwards. So that's this Sunday. With this update, the 69 provinces, all the 69 provinces, meaning minus the sandbox provinces, so all the 69 provinces will be categorized as controlled areas or in the orange zone. So there will be no more dark red zone. So all provinces are now in the orange zone, except of course for the 8 pilot tourism sandbox provinces, which we color them blue. So there's only orange and blue now. Blue provinces, which remain 8. So the blue zone, pilot tourism sandbox areas include Bangkok, Kanchanaburi, Krabi, Chonburi, Nonthaburi, Pathum Thani, Phang, Phuket, and some districts in other provinces that are considered as pilot tourism areas. So 69 plus 8, that makes 77 provinces in Thailand. So this rezoning effective this Sunday. The CCSA decided to highly recommend all agencies to implement the work from home measures, strictly work from home measures, until the 31st of January 2022. And this includes, of course, all government agencies and recommending to businesses as well. The entertainment venues, such as pubs, bars, karaokes, are allowed to temporarily open as restaurants from the 16th of January 2022. Allowed to temporarily open as restaurants from the 16th. The venues are required to strictly exercise the COVID-free setting measures, and they need to be approved by the provincial authority in each province before the 15th of January 2022. For the provinces and areas in the blue zones or the pilot tourism sandbox zones, alcoholic beverage consumption in restaurants is allowed until 2100 hours under COVID-free setting venues, and only in the restaurants that have received the SHA Plus certificates. So that is the update on categorization and domestic measures. Now, just to review on the measures for entering the country, as I mentioned in the beginning, the general meeting today discussed that the prior restrictions that we had on travelers from African countries, they resolved that the restrictions for travelers from African countries coming into Thailand will be lifted on the 11th of January 2022. So that's next Tuesday already. Restrictions from travelers from Africa will be lifted. So therefore, international travelers from all countries can enter Thailand while undergoing the same measures. All international travelers undergoing the same measures. That would be effective on the 11th of January. Also on the 11th of January 2022 onwards, travelers can register to enter Thailand through to arrive in new sandbox schemes, the new sandbox provinces, aside from Phuket. So previously there had been a couple of provincial sandboxes, and then they were removed, but Phuket remained. Now from the 11th of January, they come back. So the sandbox schemes, aside from Phuket, will include provinces, which is the sandbox scheme, Surat Thani sandbox, Phanga sandbox, Krabi sandbox, which all of these are extensions from the Phuket sandbox scheme to reduce the limited capacities of Phuket for tourism. Now, Surat Thani, Phanga, and Krabi. In Surat Thani, in particular, Samui Island, Got Tau, and Got Phangan. So these are the sandbox schemes that will be effective from the 11th of January onwards. Now, as mentioned by Dr. Tuisin, for the test and go scheme for those arriving international arrivals, the registration for new QR codes, new test and go scheme, will continue to be suspended until further notice. Most likely, at least until the end of the month. So, continue to be suspended until further notice. However, those who have already received the QR code to travel to Thailand as scheduled under the test and go measures, the CCSA will constantly adapt the measures as necessary, including consider the time limitation for approved travelers under this test and go scheme, and we will inform you as soon as possible as there are further updates, including any cutoff date for the use of this QR code that has already been issued for those who have already applied for the test and go prior. So moving on to the vaccination progress now, administered more than 105 million doses of vaccine in Thailand. Out of this total number, we have a big number administered yesterday. On screen for you now, over 874,000 doses administered yesterday alone. Currently, we have 71.4% of the population receiving their first dose, and more than 64.6% of the population having already received their second dose, and around 10.4% receiving their booster or third shots. So we continue to encourage everyone to get vaccinated and get their booster shot as soon as possible, since vaccination can reduce severe symptoms and fatalities. On the general situation, we'll have an infographic coming up for you on screen. 7,526 cases. Unfortunately, this is a spike, a big number, compared to the new recoveries, which is 2,895 cases. Active cases being treated has climbed up a bit because of the new confirmed cases discovered. That's active case being 42,580 cases. We have new fatalities at 19. Our condolences to the families of those who have lost their lives. Yesterday we recorded 19 cases, which is still actually not a high number compared to the past weeks. I'd like to move on to an issue which is important. This was an inquiry from English language press here in Thailand about guidelines for people who have tested positive through the ATK results. Now, for people who get positive results from the ATK test kit, you should immediately isolate yourself from your family members. Then, of course, visit the hospital and confirm the result with an RT-PCR test. And there's a simple to understand infographic there on screen for you, courtesy of the Public Relations Department. Now, this is of course in English for English language audience. You may contact Thai health officials via a couple of means. You have that on screen for you as well. National Health Security Office at 1330 by phone or the Line official account. Patients under the Social Security system, contact the hotline 1506. Urgent and severe cases, hotline is 1668 of the Center for Disease Control, as well as the Line account to reserve a hospital bed. And after confirmed with a positive result, patients with severe symptoms will be sent to the hospital, while patients with mild symptoms can be sent to either the hospital of their choice at their own expense, or a field or community hospital or hospital at the expense of the government, covering the stay and basic treatment, or number 3, a home isolation. So if you can choose, of course, the most convenient for those who can choose this, number 1 is the hospital of their choice at their own expense. And to qualify for home isolation, which was number 3 just now, patients must consult a doctor who has confirmed the possibility to benefit from a home isolation program. So if you're a foreign national, for example, and of course, the option of going to a field or community hospital might not be one that you would like if you're staying in a foreign country, for a foreign country for you in Thailand. The first choice, best choice would be a hospital of your own choice at your own expense. But if it's the home isolation option, consult your doctor. Consult your doctor, and who will confirm the possibility of the benefit of this home isolation program. There are criteria for this home isolation. For example, younger than 6-year-old and be asymptomatic, or only have mild symptoms and have living space in your own home or condominium in Thailand where you can isolate from other people. So there are options for foreign nationals who have been tested positive with the ATK result, and that is the guideline that I just summarized for you. Visit hospital, confirm result with RT-PCR. There is the hotlines to contact for more information. And if positive, of course, there are three options. Hospital at your own expense, field hospital, which I think you would not prefer, and the third is home isolation if qualified after consulting with your doctor. So for inquiries on home isolation, Department of Disease Control, hotline 1422. Please be reminded that those infected with COVID-19 who refuse to quarantine or get treatment can face a penalty in Thailand of up to 2 years in jail and up to 40,000 baht fine. So with that note, I thank you for your attention. I wish you a very healthy weekend, and we'll see you again Monday. Please stay safe. Have a great weekend. Thank you. สวัสดีครับ